On this Sunday night, a deadly mass shooting targeting Australia's Jewish community. Two gunmen opened fire on Bondi Beach, why police are calling it an anti-Semitic terrorist attack.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil.
What we're learning about the alleged gunman and the brave bystander who took them on. Also tonight, an Ontario family threatened and attacked by a notorious Indian gang.
He said, you have to donate us $2 million.
The warning from Canada's Sikh community about an extortion epidemic. Flood-ravaged communities in BC brace for more heavy rain. Plus, defying expectations. An artist with a disability makes history with a prestigious award.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with what police are calling a terrorist attack on Australia's Jewish community. At least 15 people are confirmed dead, including a child, after two gunmen opened fire at Sydney's famous Bondi Beach. At least 42 others were hurt and taken to hospital, including several children. Investigators say one gunman was killed and the second suspect is now in critical condition. The attack took place at an event celebrating the first night of Hanukkah. Officials say Australia's deadliest shooting in decades could have been even worse if not for the bravery of a bystander. Global's Candice Cole has our top story tonight and a warning some of these details are disturbing.
Pure terror gripped Sydney's Bondi Beach Sunday afternoon as gunmen armed with what appeared to be semi-automatic rifles ambushed a Hanukkah celebration with over 1,000 attending in what Australian officials have called a targeted anti-Semitic attack.
I just sort of saw them all the way over there, just people start running, and I'm going, well, maybe it's like a one-time shooting, not like it's not America, like not a massacre event, but turns out it was.
Like a lot of people, they've been crying. Some people, they became white as well. And I feel also sad for the people, for the Jewish community, for Australian as well.
This eyewitness video capturing what started out as a cheerful celebration with families. Just before things turned deadly, this man visiting from the UK could hear what he first thought were fireworks from his room before taking cover in his closet.
So I sort of opened the blind to see what was going on, and I just saw an older lady get shot, and she was on the floor. Saw an older guy get shot, very badly injured on the left-hand side, and I just saw a bunch of people screaming, run towards me. They were just shouting and screaming, saying, you know, get cover, get cover. So I ran to my front door, put the lock on, and then ran to my bedroom, put the blinds down, and just took cover in my wardrobe for a little.
This video, shot by a witness nearby, shows the moment this courageous Good Samaritan jumps up behind one of the gunmen taking their firearm. But then it pans over and reveals a second gunman shooting from a bridge at random. That Good Samaritan now reportedly in the hospital with 2 gunshot wounds.
There has been a shocking level of anti-Semitism that has been reeling its ugly head in this country.
Rabbi Levi Wolf lost one of his close friends and colleagues in the shooting. He says the anti-Semitism in Australia has become so heightened he needs full-time security. His kids warned not to wear their uniforms outside.
As a Jewish people, we will not be silenced. The holiday of Hanukkah will remind us and the world that a little bit of light dispels a lot of darkness. And what we need to do is add in our light.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has condemned the shooting as an act of evil.
Australia will never submit to division, violence or hatred. We will see justice done and we will come through this together.
New South Wales police could be seen searching a vehicle for explosives on the scene. They say the 2 gunmen were father and son, aged 50 and 24. The father is deceased, the son in critical condition. They do not believe a 3rd gunman was involved. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.
Mass shootings in Australia are rare. This attack is the country's deadliest in almost 30 years. Australia's last mass shooting was back in 1996 when 35 people were killed by a lone gunman at the Port Arthur historic site in Tasmania. Within days of that attack, the Australian government introduced some of the toughest gun laws in the world, banning most semi-automatic rifles and shotguns, introducing strict licensing and mandatory registration, and a massive buyback program that removed hundreds of thousands of guns from circulation. Prime Minister Mark Carney attended a Hanukkah event in Ottawa late this afternoon and conveyed his condolences to the victims of Australia's attack. He says the government stands with Canada's Jewish community, but more needs to be done.
It is not enough to protect the Jewish community. It is not enough for Jewish Canadians to live without fear. Canada is not Canada unless all members of the Jewish community can fully participate in all aspects of Canadian life.
The attack in Australia is raising fears for the safety of Jewish communities here in Canada and right around the world as Hanukkah celebrations begin this evening. Anti-Semitic attacks are on the rise in Canada. Heidi Petracek reports on the calls for political leaders to do more to protect those communities.
Rabbi Levi Gansberg says a prayer in Toronto after tragedy in Australia.
I woke up in a state of shock because I happen to know the rabbi who was murdered personally.
With anti-Semitic violence occurring around the world, this latest attack has only increased fear in Canada.
In recent years, there's been a rise of anti-Semitism, and there's been a tolerance to intimidation. My own daughter's school has been shot at 3 times.
There are guards at the synagogues on holidays, for instance.
Bobby Zara's Halifax synagogue was targeted by hate graffiti in September.
There are people who have determined that it's appropriate to hate me just because I'm a Jew.
So with Hanukkah events scheduled across Canada, police services are increasing patrols.
And there will be other deployments that may not be so readily visible to members of the community.
An incident that occurs half a world away can cause a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety locally.
Since the Australia attack, state leaders have been offering condolences. The British Prime Minister, whose wife is Jewish, posting a photo lighting a menorah, writing, "Light will always win over darkness." The U.S. President hailing the man credited for taking down one of the assailants.
Who went and attacked frontally one of the shooters and saved a lot of lives.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling anti-Semitism a cancer.
It spreads when leaders stay silent. You must replace weakness with action.
With hate crimes against Jews in Canada making up 68% of those motivated by religion in 2024, leaders want governments to take a stronger stance.
We've seen where unchecked extremism and hate can lead, whether we're talking about the United Kingdom or we're talking about the United States, and now Australia.
Jewish Canadians are determined to celebrate.
My one little light doesn't dispel the darkness, but it gives me hope.
A flame of hope and remembrance of lives taken. Heidi Petracek, Global News, Halifax.
To the aftermath of another deadly mass shooting in the United States. Police have now arrested a suspect linked to yesterday's attack at Brown University in Rhode Island. 2 students were killed in the shooting, which happened during final exams at the prestigious school. 9 others were hurt. Students on campus were ordered to shelter in place for hours as the manhunt for the gunman lasted well into the night. Among those who took shelter were a couple of students who previously survived separate mass shootings back when they were in high school.
You always have this naive belief that, like, oh, well, it won't happen to me. And obviously it has. And now there's more kids like myself who've been through 2 school shootings. And I think that's kind of just representative of the situation that the inaction of Congress has put us in.
Police eventually located and arrested a suspect, a man in his 20s, at a hotel early this morning. They also released this security cam footage that appears to show him leaving the scene. At this point, police are calling him a person of interest. No charges have been laid. In Germany, police appear to have foiled a planned attack in the southern state of Bavaria, targeting a Christmas market. Authorities arrested 5 male suspects, 3 Moroccans, an Egyptian, and a Syrian. They were allegedly planning to ram a car into a crowd at the Christmas market in what police are calling an Islamist-motivated attack. The arrests come nearly a year after an anti-Islam activist allegedly drove his SUV into another German Christmas market, killing 6 people and injuring hundreds of others. His criminal trial is now underway. An Ontario family has been targeted in 2 separate shootings on their homes. They say it's part of an extortion campaign by the Bishnoi Gang. The Canadian government recently classified that notorious Indian gang as a terrorist organization and accused the Indian government of employing its gang members to conduct violent crimes on Canadian soil, which India denies. Nathaniel Dove spoke to the family.
An attack because Dharmjit Mond refused to pay. One bullet piercing a trailer, then penetrating the house.
He said, you have to donate us $2 million. That's your duty to give us $2 million. I said, $2 million? I thought somebody joking.
Dharmjit says the calls and voice messages telling him to give millions of dollars started about 2 months before the shooting.
Messages, same thing. If I don't pay them, so they can shoot me.
Another came afterwards. The caller says next time the bullets will be fired inside Dharmjit's home at his forehead. And the caller says he's from the Lawrence Bishnoi Gang. Lawrence Bishnoi has been in prison in India since 2015, but is allegedly still running an international criminal gang.
Look, I don't have any issue with Lawrence Bishnoi. I don't have no issue with the Indian government. I don't have no issue with anyone here.
Dharmjit says he doesn't know why he was targeted. He's a general contractor. And he says the messages are all from the same person.
I can recognize the voice. They sent me voice message too.
They sent him a message saying they knew he moved to his brother's house, then attacked again.
It was a big noise. It's like glass breaking, or it was a really weird noise. I never heard that kind of noise.
Dharmjit's brother Ranbir says he's nervous and angry.
I keep my guns beside my bed. My kids also have. So I think we have to protect our family.
Dharmjit says he contacted police after the first call.
I didn't see any result. Nobody gets charged. They have no clue what's going on.
On the same day as the second shooting, the Canada Border Services Agency said 15 suspects accused of extortion in BC have declared refugee status, halting their deportation proceedings, at least temporarily. Their brothers say they'd feel safer if that wasn't the case.
Like, how would you treat someone as a human while they're not treating others as a human?
In a statement, the Ontario Provincial Police said their major crimes unit is investigating a shooting incident in Caledon, matching the timing and location of Ranbir's house, which they believe is a targeted incident.
It's not a normal life anymore.
Ranbir says he has nowhere else to go.
Whatever project we're doing, we have to wrap up those projects and leave the country. That's all we can do.
Dharmjit says he's leaving Canada soon because he no longer feels safe. Nathaniel Dove, Global News, Toronto.
There was another apparent extortion shooting this morning in Surrey, BC. Shots were fired at a restaurant around 2:30 a.m. Several staff members were inside, but no one was hurt. Police believe it was extortion related. There have been more than 100 extortion cases just in Surrey so far this year.
The agents of Government of India are linked to intimidation, threats, coercion, and organized crime.
Members of Canada's Sikh community, often the targets of extortion, held town halls in Surrey, Calgary, and Brampton, Ontario this weekend. Organizers have been calling for more police resources and are critical of the federal government's renewed relations with India.
There has been more action recently we've seen on extortions and public task forces, but in terms of the messaging from the government and the renewed ties with India, it just feels like it's not being taken seriously.
Prime Minister Mark Carney recently accepted an invitation from India's Prime Minister to visit New Delhi early in the new year. Keeping an anxious eye on the skies over BC. More rainfall warnings are issued for the already flooded Fraser Valley. The details coming up. Floodwaters are receding on BC's south coast, but the region is now bracing for more heavy rain. The main highway through Abbotsford has reopened after last week's major flooding, and evacuation alerts have been lifted for more than 1,000 properties in the city. But another storm system is now hitting the Fraser Valley, bringing more heavy rainfall and strong winds. Global News meteorologist Yvonne Schell joins us now. So Yvonne, how much rain are we expecting?
Thanks so much, Jeff. We're looking at anywhere between 40 and up to 80 millimeters of rain, and this storm is going to pack a punch. Now, the timeline is key, and the big concern is some of the heaviest rain will be overnight and taking us in towards the morning hours on our Monday. Higher amounts will even be extending in towards Howe Sound and right along the western regions of the island. Rain should taper off as we get in towards Monday afternoon, and then in behind it, we're also looking at very windy conditions. Following areas with the rainfall warning for the Fraser Valley, 40 and up to 60 millimeters is the range, but higher elevations could get closer to 80 millimeters. North Shore Mountains for Howe Sound, 50 and 70. And for the western edge of the island, we could see up to 120 millimeters of rain. High stream flow advisory. This has been issued from the BC River Forecast Center, following areas in yellow. And we do have a flood warning that remains in effect, and that's for the Sumas River. The winds for tomorrow will pick up or continue overnight into the early morning hours. We're looking at winds anywhere between 40 and gusts of up to 60 kilometers per hour. Jeff?
Yvonne Schell, thanks. Still ahead, a Canadian medical discovery, how a popular weight loss drug is being used to treat other chronic conditions. The World Health Organization recently endorsed Ozempic and other GLP-1 medications for treating obesity, and health experts are hoping it's the first step to make the drug more accessible to those with other chronic conditions. Kendra Gannon explains.
The World Health Organization is recommending the use of GLP-1 therapies alongside lifestyle changes to treat obesity as a chronic condition. Canadian researcher and GLP-1 co-discoverer Dr. Daniel Drucker says the WHO's endorsement of the drugs for this purpose is a big step forward.
We're not just trying to lose a certain percentage of weight, we're trying to reduce diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, really more than a dozen conditions that impair the health of people living with obesity. And that's what these medicines do, and that's what WHO has recognized.
GLP-1 medications work by mimicking a hormone that regulates blood sugar, slows digestion, and reduces appetite. For women with polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS, Dr. Drucker says GLP-1 medications have shown promising results, though more research is needed.
It's often associated with living with obesity, insulin resistance, some high blood pressure, irregular menstrual cycles, trouble getting pregnant. And there's very encouraging data to suggest that these medicines might be helpful in this condition, but we need more data.
Fertility and endocrinologist Dr. Elise Goldberg says weight loss can play a major role in managing PCOS, something many say is harder to achieve with the condition, and that GLP-1 therapies combined with lifestyle changes can help.
Not all, but a lot of patients with PCOS also have excess weight. So we are very excited by the potential use of these medicines in this pathway, of the targets that insulin resistance pathway.
But access to these drugs is limited. Bria Jenkins said she tried birth control and the diabetes medication metformin, but had no success. After doing her own research and seeing other women share positive experiences with the drugs, she emailed Nova Scotia's health minister about access to GLP-1s for PCOS. She was later told by Nova Scotia's PharmaCare programs that the medication is only approved for diabetes and chronic weight management, with PCOS approval still requiring submissions to Health Canada from drug companies.
I was very upset over it. I'm really hoping that, they look more into it and not just seeing it as a weight loss drug. It can really help people with PCOS deal with their symptoms, not only like physically, but their mental health improves, which I think a lot of people with PCOS struggle with depression and anxiety because of their symptoms.
Kendra Gannon, Global News, Halifax.
Artistic expression. Up next, how the winner of a prestigious prize is shattering a glass ceiling for artists with disabilities. Welcome back. An artist in the UK has just made history. Naina Kalu is on the autism spectrum and communicates with limited verbal expression, but she speaks powerfully through her art, and that artistic expression has just won the country's most prestigious art award. Neethu Garcha has her story.
She makes art out of things like fabric, VHS tape, and a lot of color, and she often blasts her favorite music in studio while doing it. And now her work has earned her the 2025 Turner Prize, known as the UK's most high-profile art award.
And the winner is Naina Kalu.
Naina Kalu, who has autism and limited verbal communication, has shattered a glass ceiling as the first artist with a learning disability to win.
This amazing lady has worked so hard for such a long time. It's wonderful. She's finally getting the recognition she rightly deserves. We are so happy.
Her studio manager making a speech on her behalf, saying Kalu has faced an incredible amount of discrimination, which has continued to this day.
So hopefully this award smashes that prejudice away. Naina Kalu, you've made history!
The jury praising Kalu's bold and compelling work and her finesse of scale, composition, and color.
It's a huge coup, and as a disabled artist, but also as somebody who's working to advance the conversation here in Canada, it's really heartening to see this prize go to an artist from the community.
Canadian advocates say Kalu's win is also a milestone for the global disability arts community.
Kalu's win really is a win for all of us.
Established in 1984, the Turner Prize recognizes artists born or based in the UK. Among those shortlisted was Canadian Zadie Cha, known for her large immersive installations.
Zadie is a Canadian Korean artist, often draws upon her own Korean heritage too.
With hers topping a field of talented artists, Kalu's work, which has long been making quiet statements, now speaks louder than ever. Nitu Garcha, Global News, Vancouver.
And congratulations. That is Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Jeff Semple. Tonight's Your Canada is Labrador City in Newfoundland and Labrador. We love seeing your festive Canada photos, so please keep emailing them to globalnational@globalnews.ca. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.